We're in the deep inside of Smith & Wesson, actually in the Performance Center itself now, and what we're going to do right now is look at them chamfer a cylinder on a revolver. Now what that means is normally the charge holes where the cartridge actually goes in, well, the edges are really sharp just because of the way the machining is. What they do here is that they index it on this special yoke tool. They run a tool down that chamfers the very entrance to the chamber. So basically it's like a little funnel. That way if it's low light or you're reloading from a speed loader, it lets the rounds actually slip into the cylinder much faster and more easily. We're here with Jack in the Performance Center, and what he's going to do is show us, yet another one of those very careful, very craftsman-like precision steps that the Performance Center does in order to make their guns just that extra few percentage points better than actually I think any of us could even imagine. So you're going to actually now get a barrel and you're going to do a precision crown is what this is all about, right?
That's correct.
Okay, well show us how to do it. Yeah, I really enjoyed seeing this constant blending of human hands and custom machine work. For instance, look at the end result here. What we're doing here is he's fitting the barrel to cylinder gap. Now in a standard production gun out here, in this same model gun, it's between 4 and 10 thousandths. Well here, just like everything at the Performance Center, it's very precise. He's going to set this barrel to cylinder gap at exactly 4 thousandths. Now what that tight gap translates to in the real world is you lose less gas between the cylinder and the barrel, which means more consistent accuracy, higher velocity, and just less muzzle blast coming out of that gap. Now this is where he's actually going to set that final 4 thousandth gap. Not 3 thousandths, not 5 thousandths, but exactly 4 thousandths. Sometimes it takes a minute or two to get this just right, but once the gunsmith is satisfied, then he locks it down nice and tight.
So as long as you can rotate the cylinder with a 4,000 shim, then I have a 4,000 gap.
And the job's done. What we're doing here is he's drilling a hole that will eventually be used for the pressed-in trigger stop. The reason for a trigger stop on single-action trigger pull, for target shooters especially, once the sear breaks, you don't want to have the gun wiggle with trigger over travel. So this stops it very cleanly right after the break. Boy, yet another hand operation here in the Performance Center. You saw us drill the hole for the trigger stop. Now we're actually installing it. It's a press fit. It's very carefully fitted, actually. There's a lot of micrometers and gauges and dial calipers and things, but again and again and again, it just comes down to the feel of a pistol smith's fingers. There's a lot of handwork done on a lot of small parts. Let's take a look at what goes on with just a hammer. All this polishing that we just saw on this hammer is just so this little movement right there to there is smooth. In all seriousness, here in the Performance Center, we're about to install the ball detent. We won't get into the details right now, so just look at what he does. And an interesting thing about this is that Smith & Wesson has engineered this in such a manner that they've actually gotten rid of the forward locking bolt, common to the old revolvers. If you're an old PPC shooter and stuff, you know exactly what I'm talking about. What this does is it smooths up the cylinder. You get a much freer turning motion, less friction, which means a smoother action. Another option here at the Performance Center is this Black Magic coating. Essentially, it's a proprietary finish that they can coat stainless steel with. After an aggressive sandblast, this black tea finish is applied and then a clear coat's put over it, like you'd put on anodized aluminum, only this is really stainless steel. what this does for you is a couple of things. Is number one, yes, it would technically make the stainless steel even more weather resistant, but it gives you that nice dark matte finish if you're a hunter or if you have it on a carry gun. Plus, it's got a high CDI factor, which, well, that means chicks dig it.